Hello, everyone! In a moment that fans never expected, the grieving silence that had surrounded the tragic passing of Malcolm-Jamal Warner was shattered when the woman closest to him, his wife, who had remained quiet and poised amidst a tidal wave of rumors, accusations, and emotional fallout, finally broke her silence in a raw, emotional, and unfiltered message that not only expressed her heartbreak, but boldly called out none other than Malcolm's own mother, Pamela Warner, sparking an entirely new wave of public intrigue, tension, and sorrow around the beloved actor's shocking death. For days after the news broke that Malcolm had died unexpectedly while on a family vacation in Costa Rica, reportedly drowning while swimming, a detail that left fans confused and devastated, the focus had largely been on public tributes, co-star reflections, and the eerie silence from his inner circle. While the entertainment world reeled and fans around the globe mourned, the grief within the family simmered beneath the surface, especially after Pamela Warner, his mother, came forward with emotional and pointed claims that her son had been murdered, insisting that what had been reported was a cover-up and that she would not be silenced until the truth came to light. Her bold statements were picked up instantly by tabloids and social media, as she suggested that unseen forces, perhaps even people close to Malcolm, knew more than they were revealing. And suddenly eyes turned to Malcolm's wife, who until now had chosen to stay out of the fray, caring for their daughter and navigating her loss privately. But everything changed when she posted a lengthy video message online, looking visibly emotional and speaking from what appeared to be Malcolm's home office, surrounded by his personal belongings. She began with a quiet voice, barely above a whisper, saying, "I wasn't going to say anything, but I can't stay silent while my integrity and my love for my husband are questioned by someone who should be mourning, not accusing." Her words cut through the grief like a knife, as she went on to recount the timeline of events leading up to Malcolm's death, describing in painful detail how he had been struggling with stress, how they had taken the family vacation to reconnect and heal, and how no one could have foreseen the tragedy that unfolded. But then, her tone shifted. With tears in her eyes and fire in her voice, she addressed Pamela Warner directly. "You are his mother. You were supposed to be his protector, but in the last few years all you did was blame, divide, and hold on to resentments that hurt him deeply," she said, her voice shaking. She revealed that Malcolm had been struggling emotionally due to family tension, that he had often felt caught between his loyalty to his mother and his duty to his own wife and child, and that the burden of trying to please everyone had worn him down. "He loved you," she said, staring into the camera, "but he couldn't keep sacrificing his peace for your approval." She accused Pamela of manipulating public sympathy, using Malcolm's death to push her own narrative, and refusing to acknowledge the truth, that her son had been trying to create boundaries, not break ties. "He wasn't murdered," she said firmly. "He was exhausted, he was human, and he needed support, not suspicion." As the video continued, she played a voicemail from Malcolm, dated just 2 days before his death, in which he talked about how much he loved her and their daughter, and how he was finally looking forward to a new chapter of peace. The voicemail's soft-spoken optimism made the loss even more tragic, and the wife broke down in tears, explaining that while she would carry the weight of his death forever, she refused to carry guilt placed upon her by those unwilling to look at their own roles in his pain. Fans reacted with shock and compassion, many supporting her bravery while others called for unity and grief rather than division. Meanwhile, Pamela Warner, after the video went viral, responded with a short message saying she stood by her suspicions and would continue to demand answers. The tension between the two women, both mourning, both wounded, but speaking from very different perspectives, has sparked a storm of public debate over grief, control, and the legacy of a man who was not only a beloved actor, but a son, husband, and father torn between two worlds. The media, once focused on the cause of Malcolm's death, has now turned its attention to the emotional fractures within the Warner family and what this conflict reveals about fame, family, and the cost of silence. Some insiders claim there had been long-standing tensions between Pamela and her daughter-in-law, with accusations of controlling behavior, financial interference, and unresolved trauma from Malcolm's childhood. Others that had followed that grief is simply manifesting in painful ways, and that both women are speaking from a place of unimaginable loss. But for fans, the tragedy has taken on a new layer. Not just the loss of Malcolm-Jamal Warner, but the revelation of how deeply pain can run beneath the surface of even the most admired families. As the world continues to mourn the man who brought life to iconic roles and inspired generations, his wife's voice now rings out with a bittersweet power. Not to cast blame, but to remind us that behind every public figure is a private struggle, and behind every strong silence is a storm of truth waiting to be heard. And as she concluded her message, holding a framed photo of Malcolm, she whispered, "I loved him with everything in me. And if you really loved him too, maybe now is the time to let him rest, not in noise, but in peace." Thanks for watching.